Celtics tonight. Boy, he broke ankles and one. Simmons, hammer time. Ben Simmons carrying the 76ers here.
He's a great talent. The potential here is frightening for Philadelphia.
Does it frustrate you that so much attention is brought to like what you don't do, and not enough brought to what you do?
No, because there's a reason. I mean, I'm skilled, I'm gifted, so I think, you know, I'm pretty good at what I do. Yeah. I mean, there's things I got to get better at. Everybody knows that in the room, so it's shooting, but I'm working, so it is what it is.
That was Ben Simmons last night. Obviously, you saw he was very confident, did a lot of things well, passing, layups, driving to the basket, but we're still waiting on him to make a three. 11 of 16 from the paint. Philly did get the win, 107-93. Brian Windhorst, good to have you with us.
Thank you. Good to see you, buddy.
Max, I want to start with you. Were you encouraged by their performance?
Yeah, it was like the optimal performance, of course, would have been he hit some shots from the outside or at least took some mid-rangers that went in. But, you know, we'll take that even in this analytic era from Ben Simmons. But what I started getting concerned about when they put him in the dunker spot last year was you're now taking away what makes him special. Simmons, if you look at him and the Greek Freak the first couple of years, nearly identical players, at least statistically they profile that way, and in terms of their size and much the way they're used. The difference was Antetokounmpo was given a team around him with shooters all around, so it's really 5 out when he's at the top of the key or on the fast break, right? There's no one, and he can either, and he drives, and either you double him and he finds the open man, or he yams it on you. And that was largely what Simmons did, and great on the fast break, better handles than Antetokounmpo or even LeBron. As much as Simmons is LeBron light, his handles are way better. He's a great passer. He's athletically gifted, obviously, and also a versatile defender with room for improvement, but a guy who physically can do the job on multiple positions. So he's this fantastic overall player who hasn't been given his own team. The team hasn't been designed around him. So I started getting worried, wait a minute, since he still can't shoot and won't even do it, is he going to plateau kind of as a bubble all-star caliber player? When as a rookie it looked like, oh my God, he's like almost an MVP level player and he can't even shoot yet and he's a baby. What I saw last night is really a coaching decision by Brett Brown to say, no, let's go back to what made this guy special. And we'll worry about the shot as the season develops, as time goes on. The Sixers with Ben Simmons running the fast break on offense are very difficult to handle. And defensively this year, they're going to give everyone nightmares. So overall, Stephen A., I was encouraged by Ben Simmons.
I'm not going to say I was encouraged. I'm just not discouraged. I haven't seen anything yet to be discouraged about, but I haven't seen anything to be encouraged about. Ben Simmons, to me, is a superstar in the making, assuming he gets a perimeter shot. I have no question about anything else he could do. His ball handling skills are sublime. His passing skills are sensational as well. He's got the height, the size. He can finish at the basket against anybody, and he defends. So the only issue about him is his ability to hit perimeter shots. Don't even get me started with three. Just a jump shot would satisfy me. But the thing that I want to say is I wasn't encouraged by the Sixers last night at all for this big reason. Through the first 3 quarters, Brian, they missed 21 to 24 three-pointers. It's Elton Brand, who I believe has done a great job as GM since he's been. He will find somebody. You need another shooter. You lost J.J. Redick. You need, and Jimmy Butler, you need another shooter. The Philadelphia 76ers are not going to win a championship if they shoot like that.
They get out of the East?
Well, it depends on Milwaukee. I think Milwaukee, you got to give Milwaukee an edge. I picked Philadelphia to come out of the East, but that's because I believe Elton Brand will go out and find me another shooter. It's not because it's presently constructed, because shooting the way that they shot last night, they roughed up each other, 60 fouls. I think 60-plus fouls they committed against each other. We know it's that kind of rivalry. But I was very disheartened by the fact that 21 of 24 three-point attempts were missed through the first 3 quarters.
Stephen A., I've been covering the NBA for 17 years. The best defensive team I've ever seen was the 2003-04 Detroit Pistons. They were so rough and strong that they forced the league to change the rules. This Sixers team has the potential to challenge that team defensively.
Right. I agree with you.
Right.
But you can't win a title only playing defense in the NBA anymore. And Ben Simmons is not going to rescue them from that.
That's right.
He is the player that they want, but he is really not the player that they need. That's not an indictment on him. The other thing is this. If you watch him in warm-ups, and I'm not a shooting specialist, but I know a little bit, he still lands on 1 foot. He has not corrected the inherent flaws in his shot. So do I expect him to hit a three-pointer or two at some point this season? Yes, he will do that. He has gotten better, but he has not fixed it. And 24% from three-point range last night is not going to get it done.
I want to say something about the shooting. First of all, what I see from Simmons is, and again, I'm not a shooting guy, but he doesn't shoot at the apex of his jump. He's like the way Michael Jordan would hang in the air and wait for the defenders to come down. He shoots on the way down, so he's like heaving it. So there are things that you can correct with Simmons. When I look at this team, to your point, Stephen A., and let me just say Thibault, people pay attention to Thibault. He's so good defensively already. But I look at the starting five. Richardson can shoot well enough for the position. So can Tobias Harris. So can Al Horford. Like if you look at Richardson as a shooting guard, Harris is a small forward, Horford is a power forward, Embiid as a center. They can all shoot the three well enough for the position. But none of them, except for Harris on the catch and shoot, are above average at shooting the three for their position. So when Simmons doesn't shoot at all,
that's right.
Stephen A., to your point, there's no compensating for it.
It's also when you get to the playoff situation, when you're in the half court and you got to have 2 points, and they don't have to guard Ben Simmons. That's the issue. Okay, he's never going to be Steph Curry from out there. So you've got to do something with your roster that mitigates that.
Who's the player you think he needs? You said he's not the player.
Well, J.J. Redick was there for a reason. And as Stephen A. said, they lost him, and they made a decision to spend their money on Al Horford, but they have not been able to replace it. So there's 3 or 4 teams out there right now who have pretty big holes on their roster. Like the Celtics, for example, they need a center. Which team gets that player over the course of the season? Maybe that player for the Lakers is Andre Iguodala. Maybe Steven Adams is available in trade, and the Celtics grab him. But whoever gets that player, whether it's the Sixers with the shooter, the Lakers with their other perimeter player, whether it's the Sixers or the Celtics with the center, whoever gets that player is going to move forward in this race.
I agree with you. But if I'm critical of the Sixers moving forward, it's going to be because they lost J.J. Redick. Because to me, I don't give a damn what luxury tax numbers you have to trigger, whatever. You don't lose that man. And here's why. It's not just because of his ability to shoot the ball. It's because you've lost Jimmy Butler. Josh Richardson is relatively young. Joel Embiid is relatively young. Ben Simmons is relatively young. The one commodity that people don't know, nor do they appreciate about J.J. Redick. J.J. Redick's a real dude, which is why I love the sound that he gave a couple of weeks ago where he was talking to Zion, and after speaking to him for 20 minutes, then he said, all right, don't F this up for me. Because I've been in the play. He said, don't F that. Everybody was laughing. But understand, that's J.J. Redick's personality. He will get in your face. Now, Al Horford, he's a veteran and he'll hold you accountable, but he's much more diplomatic, peaceful, calm, comes with you. And that's not to say that J.J. Redick is not that. But will J.J. Redick get in your face and hold you accountable? Yes, he will. And you're going to miss his shooting and you're going to miss his leadership. People don't appreciate how valuable J.J. Redick is in this league.
Look, I get it about Redick, and those are good points. I don't think they could live with his transition defense, right? It was really bad last year. And the problem is, the reason I like a guy like Danny Green is because he can shoot the ball, and he's like a real 3-and-D guy, right? Who you can put in, you can start him, you can leave it alone. He doesn't need the ball. The Sixers could really use a guy like that, a guy who can play defense and shoot the three. But when we talk about how great defensively they are, if you took Richardson out and replaced him with a guy who can't defend, and now you have Tobias Harris and that guy in the lineup, suddenly we're not talking about the defense the same way.
Because what you're talking about is playing J.J. Redick about 30-plus minutes, right? But you're talking about, for the vast majority, you're talking about 15 to 20 minutes a game where you can have an elite defensive crew, and you can surround him with 4 other dudes who can cover him. Yes, you can win with a J.J. Redick, with the people that you have here.
It's just got to be a guy who's a threat to make a three.
That's right.
Because everything changes in half-court basketball in the playoffs.
Before we close this out, I get that Ben Simmons, great attacking the paint, great at finishing, but overall, just yes or no, did you feel like he looked better than last season?
I think that I'm like Ben Simmons. What he said about himself, as cocky as it may be, I 1,000% agree with him. He's that legit. He literally, without a shot, he's telling you, I can do what I want without a shot.
Yep.
He played like an all-star last night, which is appropriate because he was an all-star last season.
I've been saying all along, Embiid and Simmons ideally are not on the same team, because Horford as the 5 would be great for Simmons. That it would be like Milwaukee, right? But how can you not play Embiid? He might be the MVP of the league this year.
Yep.
So the way they match is
We're
not
out of
ideal.
time, but
And I've
everyone
been saying
agrees
all
they need
along
another
that
player.
Max is crazy for saying that Embiid
Well, they're both
and Simmons.
great.
Wendy, thanks for hanging with us. Much more to come here on First Take from LA. Do not go anywhere. Are these guys buying the Mavs as contenders after last night's win? Plus, the Warriors make their debut tonight. How much pressure is on Steph Curry without KD or